Welcome back to Behind the Box. Today we're going to be taking a look at Merlin by Stefan Feld. This game was sent to us by Board Game Exposure to do this review, so full disclosure, we haven't paid for the game, but it won't impact our review.
So Merlin is a competitive game for 2 to 4 players. You'll be rolling dice and selecting actions from a rondel to help you defeat traitors and earn victory points. And after 6 rounds, the person with the most points is crowned the next king.
Now this is our first ever Stefan Feld game, and it's our first game with an action rondel. Now if you're not familiar with an action rondel, it's literally a ring of available actions. Now each round you'll roll dice and you'll store them on your player board, and then you can move your character on your turn as many pips as you want for a dice, and then you expend that dice. So if you spend a 5, you move exactly 5 spaces, and then you activate the action you land on. You go back and forth doing that. The thing is that makes this really cool is that there's also a Merlin character. Now the Merlin is something that both people can control, and he can go counterclockwise, whereas your other characters can only go clockwise. Merlin can go both ways. So that really opens up the rondel to you, and it just gives you so many more actions to do on your turn.
But not so many more actions that it just completely blows your mind. Because if you don't know already, I have a real problem with analysis paralysis. I just freeze up if I have too many choices in front of me, and I know all the options because I have a hard time picking which ones is best. I really liked the rondel because you've got all those actions, but because it's around this, and I can only go around it a certain direction, and I'm rolling my die, and they're telling me you can only go so many spaces, it really limits all those actions, so it's not as overwhelming. And you just see the possibilities rather than, holy crap, all of that. And another thing that I liked about Merlin is that it's not mean. I get really frustrated and stressed out when I'm in a game and I'm working so hard to like build something or put things on the board or collect something, and then people come along and like steal it from you or destroy it. I don't like it when that happens, and that doesn't really happen in Merlin, and I love that. Yeah,
Merlin's quite a pleasant game. There are a couple of ways that you can interact with each other, but for the most part, it is just your own thing. Now, we mentioned Merlin, you can move him around both ways and both people can activate him. So that's one way you can kind of impact the other player. You can look at what dice they have, what actions would be available to them on their turn if you left Merlin where he is. So you might decide to move him away so that they don't get something particularly powerful. But for the most part, you'll be doing what's best for you anyway, not using your own turns to stop them. But all the actions are good. So even if you do need to move Merlin away, you might decide to and still benefit from the thing you're doing anyway. The other thing that you can do that kind of impacts other people is everybody has 4 unique henchmen. So you've got like a builder and a flag bearer, and you can send them to these different areas on the board. There's 6 different principalities, which are just different coloured families, basically. And so let's say Lindsay's put her flag bearer on the blue principality to gain the blue flag. If I send my flag bearer to that same location, it kicks hers away and back to her player board. The thing is, you've already actually earned the flag, so it's not like I'm preventing you from gaining things there. And it's usually something I want to do. I've done that because I need the blue flag. The only way it impacts you is at the end of the round, if you haven't got your people out, you don't score points for them. But it's only a couple of points. It's not a huge difference and a huge issue.
Yeah, it's not often a game breaker, like game changer.
Yeah, no, and like I said, you're never going to spend your own turn purely trying to stop someone else from doing something. It's because you need to do it.
Yeah. Another thing that's great about Merlin is it's beautiful. They've designed it very well. I know we talked about the rondel, but it's really thematic because it's laid out like King Arthur's round table, because after all, we're in Camelot. So it makes sense that we have a round table, rondel. I love that. And then also just the components are really great quality. The colors are wonderful. And also, I like the player boards a lot. They're designed almost like a castle wall, kind of, and Merlin sat there, and you can put these like little staffs in his hand, and all your flags can go like right into the little flag poles, and your traitors are like sitting on top of the castle wall. It's really nice. I like the design of it. It's just fun to have in front of you.
Yeah, I loved the design. Immediately when I took it out of the box and I set up the board, And as soon as I put the board out, I was like, oh, this looks great. Like you said, the colours, they were really striking to me. It was just everything popped. It looked really nice. I loved the iconography. It takes a little bit of getting used to because obviously it's symbols you don't know. But once you do, it's consistent. It all makes sense. And the rule book is really well laid out. It explains everything really, really well. It gives you good examples on how to do the different actions. And we played it in about 60 minutes with about a 20-minute learning from the rulebook, and it was really easy to go back when we got to a situation we weren't sure on. We could just refer to the rulebook and immediately find out. That was really nice. It was just really good. I was a little bit worried that there were going to be certain aspects of the game that just didn't feel like they needed to be there. So there's a space that you make. You actually assemble what they call the environs, which is the land outside of the courtyard of Camelot, basically. And you can build little buildings there to gain more victory points. I thought that was going to be tedious and pointless, but it was actually really nice.
I liked it. I thought it was going to be overwhelming because it was going to give me too much to think about, but I found that it just gave me more options, and it gave me a way to do actions that I wanted to do but couldn't make it to on the rondel.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. If you build a building in certain locations, you get benefits, and sometimes that is the equivalent of using these actions. And so they can be other ways to not only get victory points for containing your own stuff out in the environs, but to actually do the objectives and the things you wanted to do. So I really enjoyed it. For me, I loved the game. I think this is a game I would play many more times, and it's inspired me to want to play more Stefan Feld games. How about you?
I really liked it. It surprised me because a lot of times I don't get motivated by victory points at the end. I just find that it's a bit too abstract for me, not something that I really want to work towards. I much prefer like a goal. But it worked for me because it was just a light enough Euro that I could still enjoy it. So I certainly would play it again, and I do think this is the kind of game where the more you play it, the more familiar you'll get with it, the more fun you'll have with it.
I definitely agree. Yeah, the learning curve was pretty quick anyway in the first game that we played. You do go back to the rulebook every now and then, but for the most part, it just all sort of makes sense, and everything just fits with itself. It just worked really well, and I loved it. If you want to know more about the game, I'll stick links in the description down below, as well as our usual links to our social media. And if you've played the game and you have opinions on it, then let us know. We'll get a discussion going down below. Until the next one, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Look at Merlin. I didn't have this ready. I was like, I had to look at it to make sure it was the right way up and everything. Right? Yay?
Yeah.